All right. How's everybody doing today? How's everybody doing this evening? I pray all is well. Mother's Day is rapidly approaching. Uh, you notice, I don't know if you need to get reservations. You got to make reservations for Mother's Day, but just walk right in, no line, no waiting on Father's Day. Anyway, hope you start to make your plans, get things to honor your mother of your child, your wifey. See what we can do to do something to honor my mother. It's gonna be my first Mother's Day without my mother. Well, so anyway, yeah, let's move forward. Have you noticed? I like to do things from I observe a lot of things, watch a lot of. I'm telling you right now, I'm working on my uhs. I done took some training, done watch videos. I got to work on it some more. As far as my reels, they got the thing in the reels where they take out your uhs and your ums. So AI got some work to do, but I'm working on becoming a better speaker, talking better, and stop saying so many ums. So work with me, all right, all right. We're always trying to get better and do better. Speaking of doing better, have you noticed when you're out and about, somebody may do something that get on your nerve, and you say that person don't have any common sense? You might see somebody on TV or even on the news. They must don't have any common sense. Somebody might do something crazy as you're driving around, and you keep saying they must don't have common sense. So my question would always be, what is common sense? That's one thing. Like, you do get frustrated with the people, and you would think that they supposed to know certain things, but I did question, what is common sense? Who decides what's common sense and what's not? So that's the question for today. What is common sense? Hold on a second. Oh my goodness. I apologize. What happened? I'm sorry, my computer's not doing right. Just a second, please, please, please. I apologize. I apologize. What happened? What happened? Again, how is everybody this evening? Here we go. All right, let's get into it. Let's get into it. So again, let's go back. So what I'm trying to say, apologize. I'm doing a lot of behind the scenes stuff here too. Like I said, just out and about, like thing like people are lacking common sense or was never taught common sense. So that's what got me on this subject today. So I want to talk about common sense, and I would love to get some feedback on what people think about uh, common sense and common sense in general. So what we're going to be talking about is what is the meaning of common sense? What is common sense? So I know a lot of people got different definitions, but if you just think about it, what's common sense? Like you get up in the morning, you have a list of things that you consider common, and another person, I was about to say, yeah, a lot of person get up out of the bed across the town, across the country, across the world, even if you're married, out of the same cross from the bed from you. You could have things that's common sense to you and not common sense to the person that's laying right beside you. But you never thought about that, have you? Is That's unbelievable. Yes. And I think that might cause some conflict amongst people. So the definition of common sense is generally accepted practical knowledge or judgment. Overall, basically a general accepted practice or knowledge. It's like it's not even written in the book. You know, a lot of the stuff is not written. Stuff that you was taught, stuff that you um, observed, watching older people, watching other people interact in the world. So it becomes a it's accepted generally amongst the most of the people that you know. Um, it's like common knowledge. That's what you think. That's where it's like common sense. It's common knowledge. It's common rules, common rules and regulations. It's just common that you think everybody around you might know. My throat is getting dry. All right. Yeah. So you think everybody around you know the same information. So that's why it's common sense. And then if someone around you act as if they don't know that common law or common rule, you might get frustrated. So why is it so difficult sometimes with the common sense? Because everybody doesn't have the same knowledge. So the topic is common sense is not all that common. Believe it or not, common sense is not that common. We should see that every day. So how do you get common sense and another person don't have that same common sense? You should ask that question sometime. How do you and the people around you get to know certain things to become common and other people don't know it? So it depends on your culture. A lot of times it's the culture, where you brought up, the people that you hang out with, your upbringing, the different experiences. So your life, your day to day, the way you was brought up, even where you grew up at, is certain things that's common to that area. So like your hometown is certain things that's common sense in that town. Um, Even probably your state. So there's things that you learn, and then you could probably go move to another city, and things that you do were common in your area is no longer not common in the new location that you're moving to. You see, uh, imagine even I thought of one as like if you were brought up with your mother and your father, and your father taught you certain things. I guess took you fishing. Yeah, just took you fishing. So going fishing is common to you. So you know about, the bait, the fishing pole, the line, the hooks, and all that kind of stuff. That's common to you. And then someone comes along and decide to go fishing with you, and they don't have a clue, and you're kind of like, how you don't know this? This is basic fishing. It's just a fishing pole and a hook, and they don't know, so it's not common to them. So you see how a lot of times we think stuff should be common, and they think the person should have common sense, and we get frustrated with the people when a lot of times they might not have got the same knowledge and understanding that you did. So why people might lack the common sense that we think they should have. Like I just said, a lot of the upbringing, a lot of the um, what I'm trying to say, yeah, a lot of things that a particular person learned and another person didn't. So they will be lacking that particular thing that you might call common sense. So the upbringing, so things that's passed down from parent, from generation to generation. Some still didn't make it from generation to generation. But imagine, so even we know here in America, there could be some um, African Americans have certain things that's passed down from generation to generation. The non-African American, they have stuff that's going down from generation to generation. And then when they meet, uh, there's like, what in the world? I just thought of an example of potato salad with raisins in it. African Americans like, what is that? Why? Not all, because I'm starting to see African Americans with raisins in their potato salad, but not not long ago when a African American saw some potato salad with raisins in it, they would dare eat it. Like it's like, what is that? It's that's no, they won't eat it. But then you go to other people, they've had raisins in their potato salad for years. So it's common on one side and not common on another side. So there we go. So there's some of the upbringing. So no need to get upset about who brought the potato salad. Uh, that is very important though. You know, the potato salad got to be on point. And a lot of times that's the question: who made the potato salad? Who made the ribs? Who made the chicken? Who made the greens? Who made the dessert? Okay. Um, then, like I mentioned before, parents, missing parents, no one to teach the basics life lessons. That's a big one. So we see a lot of kids these days where like certain common courtesies. Let me think of something like holding a door open, especially a male opening the door for a female, especially a woman, an older woman. And I still think it's common decency, even if a woman is going through a door and someone is coming behind her, that gets on my nerves. Say when I go through a door, I don't think it should matter if I'm a male or female. If I go into a door, like let's say I'm going to an office building or something, when I go in, I look back. And if someone within a few steps behind me, I will stay and make sure the door, they catch the door. And sometimes people, it just takes a second. You look back, okay, and they grab it. But I see a lot of women, man, I'm like right there. All they have to do is just look back. Someone, they open the door, slide in, the door shut behind them. I was right there. So you wouldn't even, okay. Okay, they don't have to, but it's still like common decency. And sometimes they know that you're right behind them, but they would not look back and hold the door a second. Then there's other people who hold the door for a while. But I'm just trying, the common, um, uh, I'm calling it common already. The things that we think is common, we think is common decency. That's another common thing, common decency, where you think you should hold the door open for someone that's coming behind you. You should say thank you when someone does something for you, or if they hand you something that you don't snatch it out of their hands, or you show some gratitude. Those are type things that we consider common. And there may be some other things that like we would think that men as boys we should have learned that from a man growing up, and other things that women should learn from other older women growing up. A lot of times they didn't learn it. No one taught it to them, so they're missing it. So now they're adults missing out on things that they should have learned when they was a youth. So that can contribute to that point of we saying that why that person don't have any common sense. Nobody taught it to them. And some people did, they can just be rude. They just rude or self-centered, but some were never taught. So that leads to the education gap. Schools may not focus on particular things that uh, maybe other schools would have. So we're talking about budget, you know, paying a, paying your bills on time, uh, thinking, critical thinking, being able to think, being able to think and figure things out on your own. Because there are a lot of things that you don't you don't learn every single thing in life, but you learn some basic. So if you learn how to screw a screw in, that means you go to another situation. There's a screw. You should know how to screw the screw in. It's not the same. You might have learned how to screw into a chair. So now you're at the point where there's a table, there's a screw. You should better use the same screwdriver and screw the screw in. But some people don't put two and two together. So like, okay, but there's some certain things that you don't have to learn every single thing. You should take some of your life's experiences and say, okay, this looks similar to that situation that I went through 5 years ago. So maybe it'll work out the same way. And you try to do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. Some people don't try. That leads to that. Why that person don't have no common sense? They should have figured it out. But there's that gap. So now I think a lot of things that we might have learned in school, like we learn how to write in cursive. I hear that they don't teach cursive writing in school. So writing in cursive was something that was common. Learn how to write, learn how to read and write. That's another common sense. You should be able to read or write your name. If somebody asked you write your name on the back of a check, you should be able to write your name. And even we were taught to write a check. No checks are become, well, businesses write checks, but I mean personal checks are becoming obsolete. But we was taught how to write a check, how to balance your checkbook, basically balancing your account. A lot of that is not taught. So I guess the older generation could look back and say they don't have no common sense. They don't know how to know how to write a check, don't know how to balance, don't know how to pay no bills. Yes, a lot of that can start being common sense missing. So what do you do? Um, so there's other times where people are missing common sense. Uh, People are just trying to make it through life. So they didn't learn the etiquettes and the social skills and the cues. Um, and it still be some people, maybe, they maybe, what's the word? Um, might have a disability, uh, and certain things that we might have learned. A lot of people who have the disability didn't learn it or don't know the social things like smiling at somebody or, like I said, saying thank you, those type things. So again, we consider that being common sense, but a lot of might be a lot of people who hadn't got to that point or learned to be able to do that. Here's another situation like information overload. So the younger people today have a lot of knowledge, but it's not all practical and useful. So they learn a lot of different things in the books or even being on social media, talking to friends on video games. So they got a lot of information, but don't have any social skills. They don't have the common sense skills. Um, and that's I was trying to say. Some people have like learning disabilities, so they may not know. So they got a reason. Some have a pretty much an excuse to not have common sense, but the other people who should have learned, yeah, they should have a better understanding and should do better. So how do you respond to someone that's lacking or acting like they're lacking in common sense? So I think on our part, ourselves, this is coming from us, so it's our responsibility on how we react. our reaction is our responsibility. You know what I'm saying? So no matter what happens out in the world, it's still our responsibility. We are responsibility. We are responsible for our reaction. We can't just say that person got me mad or that person did this and then I did that. You're still responsible. So if somebody acting like they have no common sense and acting a fool, it's still up to you. It's your responsibility on how you react. So the first suggestion I say, don't assume that they should know better, or don't assume that they know. Don't assume that they have common sense. That's going to get you even frustrated, especially day and time, especially where we are in life, the way things are happening, the stuff that you see changing on TV or in the world every day. A lot of these decisions, different things are being made. And like common sense is lacking and missing. So don't assume they should know better because they wasn't taught better. Um, Stay curious. Ask questions before reacting. If it look like they don't know what they're doing, don't assume that they do. Like don't. I just remember one time I was working on. We was working on the car the other day. I used to go out there with my stepdad working on the car. But my man, I had an easy job. It was at night. My job was to hold a flashlight. So he's under the hood doing this and doing that. I'm holding a flashlight, trying to figure out how long this is going to take so I can go back in the house. A few times he had me doing some things, but mostly he tried to have me watching. I was like wasn't watching as much as I should. So I can remember one time he told me to go put some oil in the car. So I've seen him put oil in the car, but didn't pay attention. So he told me to go put some oil in the car. So I go put the hood up. So yeah, I got this. And I'm looking. I found a dipstick. Yep, that's it. Pulled the dipstick out, checked it. And then I commenced to pouring the oil in the dipstick oil, in the dipstick hole. And I think I poured about half of it in there. And then I decided to check the dipstick. And it was all the way up the whole dipstick. And I was like, I think I put too much in there. So then I think I stopped. And then I think my dad, he was like, you put oil in there? It's like, yep. Did you check it? Yep. How far did the oil go up? The whole stick. The whole stick. So he was like, that don't make sense. So he go out. I'm thinking I can't remember the full story, but I think what happened, he went back out to the car with me and wanted me to show him. So he see all this oil all up the stick and he can't figure out how in the world oil is all the way up the whole stick. So I think he asked me, where did I pour the oil? And I showed him the dipstick hole. Yeah, that was totally wrong. But I guess he probably got his why that joker has no common sense. He don't have no sense. He didn't pay no attention to all the times I was out here working on the car. But yeah, that leads to the next one. Don't judge. Don't beat them up. Criticize. Be a teacher. We have to learn to be gentle, especially the younger ones that should know. Like I said, it's all different reasons why they don't know. So I would say just be a teacher, be a woman, be a gentleman. So especially if the person is willing to learn, teach them. Even though you can be frustrated, like, man, this person should know this. They 25 years old and don't know this particular thing. Just bite your tongue and go ahead and teach it to them. So now you just taught them something. So now they have common sense over on a matter thanks to you. That's teaching. And something else you can use is, I think, like, I don't know, my dad, we ain't joke too much like that. But sometimes you can Just bring humor into it. Laugh about it. Just like it ain't all that serious. Just joke about it. Teach them if they willing to learn and move on. So ain't no need to be all stressed and bent all out of shape because this person should have had some common sense, or that person should have paid attention and um, not did the crazy thing that they did. That's I'm just imagining myself with these. It was some girls, two girls. No, what were they doing? It was two or three. Anyway, never mind. Two or three girls were working on a car, and come on, can I remember the story? It was crazy. Okay, it was two cars right beside each other. If y'all seen the video, y'all can correct me. It was two cars with jumper cables hooked up to each of them, and I think they was both the cars was running, and they was walking down the street. I, Lord, I'm trying to remember that video. I think they was walking down the street. They was doing something crazy, and the men, it was two men, was like, "Hey, what you doing? Leave us alone. You know what we're doing." They just started snapping on the men. The men were like, "We just trying to leave us alone. We know what we're doing." But you got the jumper cables hooked up to cars that started. It that doesn't make any sense at all. They're like, "Leave us alone. We know what we're doing." One of the girls, "My dad is a mechanic, so I know what I'm doing." It's like, okay, but that doesn't make sense. If your car's already jumped, you don't need to keep the jumper cable. No, no, leave us alone. Leave us alone. You know what we're doing. Okay. So it looked like they was about to blow the car up. That was missing. Something was missing in that memory, but they refused to accept any help. So most of us know, if here in America, if you jump a car, the car started, nothing's wrong with the battery. But if the car started, you don't need to keep the jumper cables connected, especially you don't need to drive and walk with it. But that's the guy was like, it's common sense. Common sense should tell you if you start the car, you don't need the jumper cables no more. It's really gonna cause damage to the batteries if you keep it hooked up. But yeah, that might not be all that common to know. But yeah, it does it's bad to keep it hooked up. Uh, but some people don't know that. But saying like common sense would be after it starts, you disconnect the jumper cables because you've done your job. But they said it was another issue going on. So they thought if they left the jumper cables connected, it was going to solve the other issue that they was having. Yeah, they missed the boat. So that's the guys like these women should have some common sense on knowing how to jump a car. But then on the other hand, they should have been willing to listen. I don't know if they caused any damage, but yeah, that's just one of those situations where common sense was missing, and that was three women. It's not nothing against women. Don't please, please, nothing against women, but it was three women thought it was the right idea to leave jumper cables connected and drive the car and walk along the side of the car with the jumper cable still connected. And I think people are gonna see that and like, oh well. So instead of saying you don't know that, try saying, oh yeah, you never had to do that before. Let me show you, or let me show you something cool. Let me help you with that. So that's diffusing some situation that could get out of hand. But if that's your child that you done taught them 15 times, and then they come to you and then they still don't have a clue, yeah, it's gonna be kind of hard that talk solve when you know you done taught it to them several times. They just not paying attention or being lazy. So how to keep from getting frustrated. So that's one. Uh, One thing we need to understand and remember that the lack of knowledge is not the lack of intelligence. The lack of knowledge is not the lack of intelligence. Some people may act like they have no intelligence. They may act, I don't know if we can say this, but stupid and dumb and crazy and lulu, but maybe just in certain situations. So they still can be intelligent in certain areas, but they can have the lack of knowledge in other areas. There, again, lack of common sense. Just work with them. Remember that they still, still a human being. They might know something, another area. You may lack common sense in that particular area where they may be strong in. So take a deep breath, especially parents. Parents, if you hadn't taught the child and haven't figured out if the child learned it yet, don't get all frustrated. Take a deep breath, calm down. So your patience and your peace is more important than proving a point. So your patience and your peace are more important than proving a point. Just take it easy. No need to stress. Ain't no need to go off and go crazy over something where somebody don't know something or don't remember something or messed up on something. It's no need for that. And it's a lot of situations get blown all out of proportion over someone not being, able to be calm, cool, and collected. So let's emphasize when what about when you were lacking some knowledge about something? Because everybody don't know everything. So there's going to be some areas, and there's probably some areas in your life where you didn't know something and somebody had to teach you. Did you clown the person and mistreat no, I'm sorry. Did somebody clown you and mistreat you and treat you wrong? Or they treated you with some respect and dignity? I would just ask that you do the same thing, especially your people. Like I said, your children, someone that you know, or if you're an elder person and teaching a young person, if you uh, pick at them, poke fun at them, or dog them out, if y'all don't have that type of relationship, it's a joking type of relationship, or you just dogging a person out, picking at them, you're probably gonna lose that person. They probably never listen to you about anything in the future. But if you can show them some respect, they're honor you, probably listen to you in the future. So use boundaries. Help where you can, but do not take on what drains you. Don't keep on taking stuff, other responsibilities. Let people do what they're supposed to do. And that leads to a whole lot of different areas in life where people get stressed out, uh, worried about stuff. And that's a lot of times when people asking me, I'm like, why they worried about that? That's got nothing to do with them. That's not their responsibility. That's not their concern. And a lot of people, they try to be nice and stuff, but a lot of times, if it's not your responsibility, it's not yours to be worried about and taking on a burden that's not your burden. So you take on a burden that shouldn't be your burden. Now you're gonna get frustrated. You can get angry. You can get mad. Um, I, I see this a lot where people come taking on something that's not theirs, or they're not their responsibility, and then they get all burned out, get angry. A lot of times, parents do that, especially mothers. Mothers, I'm talking about maybe for their adult child. The adult child has moved out and making illogical, unreasonable, erratic uh, decisions without common sense. And then when they get in trouble and into a bind, that mother takes on that burden of trying to help them get out, help that child get out of the situation that they got themselves in. And many times the parent told them, gave them good advice, gave them wise instructions, but they still chose to do it their way. So now they done dug a hole, got themselves in a ditch, in a bind, and now they run into the parents to help get them out. So now the parents, again, like I said, the mother's undue burden, extra stress, extra strain on her trying to get the children out of the situation they're in. And sometimes you got a type of children that keep on doing the same thing over and over and over again. You go rescue them, save them, dig them out of the situation. A few weeks later, they're doing it again. They come the mother to the rescue. They do it again. They come the mother to the rescue. Now, that mother has been, become the part of the paycheck. It's like you got a child that always need money for the light bill, always need money for the water bill, or the rent is need some more on the rent. So the mama got to come through. The mama got to pay her bill, take some of her bill money to get to the child. And the child don't never come back and repay it. And just a month later, they come back again. So parents, if you got that situation, you might as well put that person, either stop it or put that child on in your budget, because you put an extra burden on you. Like you got a budget for your bills, but you got to pay this other person's bill. Now your money is missing. Now you got to figure out how to get the rest of the money out when you already had your money. But yeah, there's just, you got to set your boundaries. I'm really talking to mothers. You got to love your child, but it's better to love them and teach them and let them grow up. Birds make the little birds get out that nest and they have to fly. They don't keep them in the nest and keep on feeding them. And if they fly and keep coming back, they teach them how to fly, and they fly. But we like to keep feeding them certain situations. So now, talking about common sense. So common sense is more like a lived experience. And you have a lot of teachable moments for people who didn't have that learning experience. There's a lot of people went through a lot of things in the past where the newer generation had, didn't have to deal with. So a lot of things became common from the people in the past, or even with age. You got age and wisdom under your belt. So you done figured out you've solved so many situations. So where common sense comes easy, where a lot of the younger people, they don't have that experience. So they may struggle with certain things, and it might frustrate the older generation. But the younger generation they have to be willing to listen and learn. And a lot of these things can be flipped. When I say flip, there's a lot of things that the younger generations know that they can teach the older generation. It's like you see how all the technology that the younger people have. I think I was what 25 for me. I think I was around 25 before I got my first computer, Packard Bell, and got online, America Online. Y'all remember all those CDs America Online gave away? So the kids don't know that. Some kids probably don't know what the CD is, but they have free CDs everywhere in all the stores, all over the place. So you would take the CD, take it home, take your phone line. Yes, you had telephone line at your house, and you would disconnect that telephone line from your telephone and plug it into the modem on the back of your computer. And you put the CD in and run the CD and let America Online get connected. And you hear that fax language going back and forth. And I even remember where I was. I was upstairs at my other house in my bedroom with the computer hooked up, and I downloaded my first song. I don't know what the song was. Well, I could remember even cutting the computer on, like, what is this internet thing? It was like, oh no, I got off of just. So if you click on America Online, you had all these icons, like I think news or talk to people or the stock market. I think it was like these different icons you click on. And then there was this one down in the corner. It said the internet. And I was afraid to push that button because I didn't know what that was. The internet, the world, the World Wide Web. So I understood what those other buttons were. If I want to, like I said, want to see what the stock market is, click, those particular things. But that other one, that World Wide Web one, that means you need to know where you're going in the vast whole wide world. And I've clicked on it, and it pops like, okay, where you want to go? I'm like, we ain't know nothing about no websites. So I'm out there clicking this button, thinking I'm going into outer space somewhere. I had no idea. Because nobody, I bought a computer, but I never used a computer before. Never got on the internet before. So yeah, seeing that button down there that says internet was kind of scary. That's funny to look back at that now. So yeah, even that. So computers now is like common. That's part of our common sense now. So kids growing up with computers in school, that's common. So they should have common sense of knowing how to cut the computer on and navigate through a computer. That's new common sense. When we grew up, like, what? I learned typing in high school. I don't know. I think I took some easy classes. I took home economics because it smelled good when they was cooking sometimes. I was like, when I get a chance, I'm taking home ec. And I sure did it and started cooking. We had to sew, but at least when my friends were trying to pick at me for going, I told them that we cooked and ate in class, and then they was like, Matt, they didn't take home ec. I think that's where we learned how to write, fill out checkbooks and stuff like that. So we learned all different types. It wasn't like straight up like I didn't feel like it was a woman's class. I think it was just teaching basic things in life. And after taking that home ec class, I started being the cook for the house. I had to cook every night for a while. I Yeah, that was my job, to cook. We had a whole house full of people, and since I knew at first, it was fun. Learn, doing my the new skills from school. Remember the pizza? You put the pizza pizza with biscuit. We took the pizza. Gracious, come on, tongue twisted. You take the biscuits and fill in the whole pan, and then you put the spaghetti sauce on top of the biscuits, and then you put all the toppings and you bake it. And then you got a poor man's high rise New York style pizza because that pizza was thick as the biscuit. But yeah, so anyway, the stuff that we learned in home ec, I started cooking them or trying different things at the house or getting my mom to refresh me. So I was doing all the cooking, and I got fired. I was glad I got fired, but I got fired. I got fired from cooking because one day I decided to make some hamburgers, and while I was making hamburgers, I'm like, all right, they always taste the same. Let me add some more seasoning in here and see how this works out. So I went in the cabinet and put spices and peppers and cinnamons and everything I could find. I put all that in the burgers and cooked the burgers. And everybody said those burgers were so nasty, it tastes like candy. Because I put some sweet, like I said, probably cinnamon and some other stuff in there. I was just mixing all stuff up. But I thought I was gonna be the next famous worldwide chef, got a new invention. It was bad. So I was banned from cooking. And then everybody realized how lazy they were. They didn't want to cook. So I got rehired and started cooking again. But yeah, that's still that common sense stuff. Yeah, I should have had common sense to know not to put sweet stuff or stuff that you use for baking sweets into the burgers. But hey, gotta learn somewhere. Uh, so yeah, just anyway, I'm just trying to just get some tips on, like I said, people dealing with being frustrated with people that seem like they don't have common sense. They don't have common courtesy. They don't have things that we think should be common. And how do we deal with that? How do we deal with those people that we see on a regular basis? It's common sense to leave somebody a tip, like here in America. Again, it's common sense to be nice. It's common sense to offer. If somebody fall down, it's common sense to try to, if you're close by, to stick your hand out and try to help them get back up. Huh? That's should be common sense. It's so many. I didn't even. I don't know if it's a list. It's not a list. It's probably all the different situations are different. So when the situation arises, you should be able to see it and know how you should react. It's mostly being a decent human being. That should be the base of it. Just being a decent human being and just trying to help your fellow man. It reminds me of the story of the Good Samaritan. That's more than being a decent human being. I heard a lot of people saying a Good Samaritan. I just saw that TV show. Y'all saw that where these two pit bulls attacked the little bitty dog. I forgot, Chihuahua or something. Two pits was attacking, trying to kill a Chihuahua, and all sorts of people ran in to help out. They, started pulling the dogs off of the Chihuahua, so they saved the dog. But those people, they could have just watched, but common sense told them to jump in and go help. So there should be a lot of situations that we go through life every day. There's some common sense things, common sense on how to help someone, or common sense people come across your path, and you see that it's something simple that you can do, and you're able to do that for them. You should have common sense to go ahead and do it instead of waiting for somebody else to do it. So the next time you feel like you got to roll your eyes at someone because they don't know what they're doing, just take a deep breath and just give them a second chance. We may sometimes it might seem like we're better than people because it seems like we in the end, we're in the in crowd. We know what's coming and what's not. Where I grew up, I'm with the right people, so I know what's coming. So we could kind of act kind of arrogant around people who may not know all the things that's common. And then you can start, being judgmental, or like I said, acting like you're better than that person. But I think you should have some grace and mercy, because there's gonna be some times where you're gonna be somewhere where they're gonna be like, you don't have no common sense. You should know better. And I know you'll expect the person to want to treat you with some respect and decency and some common kindness and mercy and grace. But as you see in our society now, it's a lot of that's missing. A lot of that being decent to your human, what you call it, being nice and polite. I'm sorry, I just clicked over here and saw these notes. But yeah, it's a lot of people just rude. A lot of people just rude. And if they're from a man's, some men, we just supposed to be gentlemen. And that's another thing. A lot of people, they don't. What does that mean to be a gentleman? What does it mean to be ladylike? That's something that we would think to be common. But if women are not taught how to be ladylike, if men are not taught to be gentlemen, they're not gonna have it. And you can, you met this dude, he's thugged all out, and yeah, you meet him, meet him at a club, pants hanging off, got him a drink, got him a blunt hanging out, um, you know, then you decide to go out with him, and you roll up, and you refuse to get in the car because he won't open the door for you. Well, he like, open the door for what? if he hadn't been taught that, and kind of like, why are you expecting? You shouldn't even expect that. It's not, sometimes people expect certain things from certain people. If you use your common sense, you will realize you're not going to get that out of that particular person, that particular situation. So, what y'all think about common sense or the lack thereof? What do you think people should do when you run into situations where um, you feel like they should have common sense, or now is, I don't know, does that fall in the line? Like I said, for a man showing chivalry, that word they say chivalry is dead. Is chivalry part of common sense? Is chivalry a man uh, trying to show respect to a woman, like open a door for? I remember seeing on cartoons where a man would take his coat off and throw it in the puddle so the woman wouldn't walk in the puddle. I've just seen that on TV. I've never seen that in real life, so I never tried that. It seemed like it don't make no sense. I'll be, yeah. We just let's walk around and don't go across the puddle. But I guess that's part of chivalry, I guess. But there are certain things that men would do for women in the past that they don't do now. And so I know the older generation would think, hey, that's common sense. Even, you know what I was talking about? Even saying that's respect, or having respect for your elderly. Don't have to be elderly, just somebody that's just older than you, showing respect. Even the yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, and no ma'am. My days, that was common sense to do that. But a lot of the kids, they don't have that. They don't have the common sense to know to show their elders, their someone that's older than them, respect. So if y'all see, what's some more examples where you think the person should know common sense, or there's different areas where you think they should know something, but we see now in our society that they don't know it. It's just missing. I'm trying to think of some myself. I know that the door, or just men treating women like ladies, is kind of like different parts of town. Some parts of town, I think men know how to treat women with respect. In some parts of town, they may not. That's just, hey, this is where we at. This way it is. She sometimes the women just as hard as the man, so he can't treat her soft like a woman because she hard just as hard as he is. But it still should be some, some common sense things. And I believe I think that's what I'm gonna do. Like I think I'm gonna do. I did one on chivalry before. I want to do an episode and talk about the chivalry, what man should do, what men look, what boys should be learning on how to treat women, or how to treat the elderly, you know, older men, older women, seeing a elderly woman trying to cross the street. Now some people probably just knock them out the way and get on across the street. But the way of the Boy Scout, yeah, the Boy Scout, that's probably some people who taught some of this stuff, taught some of this common sense stuff. But yeah, they were probably taught to help the old lady cross the road. Or when you're on a bus or something, you let what is it? You let an older woman sit down. You let a pregnant woman sit down. You let a woman. If there's no more seats and there's only the woman is standing and a bunch of men sitting, um, get up. I consider that common sense. Get up and let the woman sit. Uh, so that's, I don't know, that's chivalry? And I know in some situations women get mad. I yeah yeah, some women, like men trying to show respect to women, and now some of the women get upset. Why did you get up and let her sit down? She's pregnant. I don't care. I don't care. I don't want you looking at her, and I don't want this, and I don't want. That's a pregnant woman, and I'm sitting down. A decent man should feel bad, and I'm squirming in my seat. I'm like, I can't do it. I just feel bad if I see a older woman, pregnant woman, and again, if it's a woman, like she say, like a woman that is in shape or something, she might just say, "No, I don't want your seat. Stay sitting down." Okay, I'll stay right where I am. But as long as I got it off my chest that I offered, uh, I'm good. But if I'm sitting there, the old lady standing beside me, I just can't. I can't do it. I just cannot just let. Uh, anyway, I don't went down that road. You get what I'm saying. It's certain things that was taught as a young man how to treat women, so it's ingrained. So again, a lot of this stuff is not taught to the younger men, the younger women. Younger men don't know how to treat women. Younger women, they don't know how to be treated by men. They don't know how to demand respect. And sometimes I believe you should demand it, but then it's come back. Let's loop back around. If it's common sense, if you, let me say, a woman dating a man and he doesn't know something, you can teach him. I got a prime example. It was I think it was acting, but it was a guy met a girl, went to go pick her up. He rolls up and she just standing there. He was like, "Come on, get in." She's like, "No, you need to open the door." So he pushed a button, the door opens. He's like, "Come on, get in." She was like, "No, I'm not getting in because you didn't open the door for me." So he didn't understand about opening the door for a woman. So he can, when the door's open, why don't you get in? I'm not getting in until you open the door. But the door's open. But she refused to get in. So it got heated up back and forth till he pushed the button, shut the door, and left. And she standing there without going on a date over she was demanding that a man is going to open the door for her. That could have worked out. She could have opened the door for herself and explained to him she would like for her man to open the door. And probably when they got to the restaurant, he probably would have, a decent guy, I'm thinking, decent guy, he would have got out the car. Okay, it don't make sense to me. They don't do that where I'm from. But okay, if you're asking me to get out and walk over there and open the door, when you can open the door and get out, okay. So I believe some situations he probably would have did it, and he probably started doing it for her. But sometimes when you put so many demands and not giving the person to be able to live up to your demands, you might miss out on some good things, maybe a blessing that could be there for you. But you could be demanding too much or demanding it too much at once, and don't let the person, like I said, get up to your demands. But I'm saying at the same time, I'm saying don't settle for less. Don't settle for abuse and mistreatment. So that's on another level. No, I'm not saying that, but at the same time, you can establish what you will tolerate and what you won't. That's what you're supposed to do at the beginning, especially when you're dating. And we can get more into dating. You establishing that when you first meet, what you're gonna take and what you're not gonna take. But sometimes some people they're asking for way too much. They go overboard. But all right. Hope you learned something talking about common sense. It's not all that common. Okay. I pray everybody have a good evening. Stay safe up. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. I hope you got your real ID. Time's up. All right, everybody. Be blessed.